Hi, this is Sally Morgan, Conversations with a Corgi, with Tristan Corgi. I'm a physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people, and Tristan is a Corgi. Today it's another cold day in Massachusetts. This morning it was 14 degrees. This is not typical in March, but it's interesting to me because my birthday was March 16th, which is 2 days ago. I'm having a birthday party today with my friends and with Tristan. And every year in my life, even when I lived in New Jersey, it has snowed on my birthday. Even a few little flakes, sometimes huge storms. And sometimes like this year on Tuesday, 2 days before my birthday, we had a huge storm. I was born in the middle of a huge snowstorm. It was very difficult for my mother to get to the hospital. They didn't have power when they came home. And one would think, having this experience of being born into the snow, that the snow would be my element and I would glory in the snow. But in fact, the older I get, the less I like the snow, the less I enjoy the shoveling. I don't ski anymore, and the snow has just been sort of an inconvenience. Although Tristan and I have taken up snowshoeing on our 7 acres on occasion, just so we can explore it in a time when there are no ticks out there. Tristan's kind of small, and the snow right now is quite deep, so we have to wait till it melts a little more before we can go exploring in a tick-free environment. So this year for my birthday, I had the great pleasure of getting some unexpected gifts in the mail from my sister, Dr. Judy Morgan, who you might know. One of the things she sent me, which may have been a silly joke to her, but was a wonderful present to me, is this fairy door from Lil Fairy Door Company. This is a group out of England. They were featured on Shark Tank. My sister's a huge fan. And what this is a door that you can put in your house to allow the fairies to come and go easily. And it comes with a cute little envelope you can put by the door so that, in fact, if you are putting this in the room of a 6-year-old child, you can leave notes to the fairies and from the fairies by the door. However, and it also comes with, my favorite part, a little bit of pink fairy dust in a little jar, which I'm sure if someone opened would be a bit of a mess. Now, my sister may have thought this was a hilarious joke in some ways, but little did she know, as my hula hoop friends knew years ago when they invited me to go to a fairy festival to hula hoop, that I'm a huge fan of fairies, and the fairy festival fit me like a glove. I was among people I knew and loved. I have my corgis there. I got to wear fairy clothes, shop for fairy clothes, and it really was like working at Disneyland when at 10 o'clock in the morning, all of the people camping there for the weekend had their fairy gear or their troll outfits or their goblin outfits or whatever they were wearing that weekend, ready to go. And then the children came racing through this long wooded trail, and we had to be fairies all day. And little girls loved to ask me, "What kind of a fairy are you?" I had no idea what to say. I was hula hooping, but I was always wearing lavender or periwinkle, so I would be a lavender fairy or a periwinkle fairy, and they would ask me for lots of explanation about what that was. So one of the interesting things about having a fairy door and corgis is that corgis have long been associated with fairies. In fact, there's a legend that the fairies enchanted foxes to become corgis so that they could help the farmers that were kind to the fairies with their farm work. And those would be the farmers who left little hedgerows as areas for the fairies to live, and they weren't chopping down all the flowers where the fairies live and play. And so the corgi has a long association with fairies. And in fact, there's more to the legend than that. Corgis like Tristan with a saddle here are meant to be ridden by fairies, and corgis with a long stripe up their face and less of a saddle are the ones that the fairies drive and use to pull their carriages. So in fact, Tristan has his own magic fairy. This fairy has been to several fun dog shows and has ridden Tristan in a little saddle so that he can bring to life the legend of fairies riding corgis. And the other interesting thing that my sister probably didn't realize is that I have a huge jar of fairy dust that I travel with, and I often sprinkle this on the doorstep of my house or the doorstep of my hotel room or anywhere in my life where I might need a little fairy magic. It's a wonderful thing. Don't stop doing it when you're not 6 anymore, because it really brightens your day when you come home in the winter and it's cold and snowy out and you see glitter on your doorstep. You can't help but smile. And today, when I have my guests over for my birthday party, they will be stepping on periwinkle glitter, bringing it into my house, and I will be vacuuming it for 6 months, or maybe longer. I still find green fairy dust in my bathroom upstairs from when a friend and I performed in green glitter with our hula hoops for a Christmas celebration. So don't underestimate the value of fairy magic and fairy glitter in your life. The other thing my sister gave me for my birthday, which I love, is a collection of flocked pasture ponies. Now, flocked horses have long been one of my favorite things, and in fact, all small flocked animals. When I was a little girl at a candy store near my house in New Jersey, I received a little flocked, which is velvety fur, fox with a little rabbit fur tail. And I loved that fox, and I still love that fox. In fact, I think that fox was the beginning of my fascination with corgis, even though it took me a long time to learn to love corgis the way I do now. But that little fox has been with me for 50-something years. And one year, I was in a big department store, and they were having a sale on their Christmas ornaments. And lo and behold, they had a whole Christmas tree of these flocked animals. So I ended up being able to purchase as many as I could afford because I was a student at the time. And I got some horses and a tiger and a llama and a rabbit. Oh, I love rabbits so much. And some other little animals, a lion. And I really treasure them. So when I saw this huge box of flocked ponies in New Jersey, I was so excited. Tristan's falling off his pillow. And I said to my sister, "Oh my God, that would be such a great present." Completely slipped my mind. And in fact, she mailed from New Jersey the flocked ponies and the fairy door. Now, I had just turned 59, which is terribly old to me, it seems. I know my mother has said when she walks by the mirror and sees an 80-year-old woman, she's like, "Where am I? That's not me." She still sees herself as younger. And I think I'm already doing that at my age. But when I see pictures of my grandparents at my age who had much harder lives, survived the Depression, World War II, I can see that I don't look like they did. And I think many of us have that today. So that's some stories about my personal birthday. But I'd like to share with you some stories about my dog's birthdays, because many of us like to celebrate our dog's birthdays. And oh, poor Tristan, he's just falling off his pillows. Oh, there. He's not used to this, but he is getting to the point where he comes over every morning at the time, even though the time changes on the weekend, waiting for conversations with a corgi. So my corgi that I had before Tristan was Comet Corgi. This is a picture of Comet Corgi at the beach when he was a young man, handsome young corgi. And this is a picture that this wonderful, amazing corgi lover in Germany, Billy Stahl, painted of Comet based on that picture. Billy Stahl, it's S-T-A-H-L, has written wonderful books about corgis, if you don't know. And she also has a website called corgihouse.de, where she posts amazing sort of cartoons of corgis playing in the snow and playing in the spring flowers. And it is her house and her corgi world in Germany. And remember, that's corgihouse.de. Please check it out. And I'm so grateful that she drew these beautiful pictures of Comet that I have on my Facebook page on Sally Morgan. And then here's a picture of Comet at the beach. And this is when he was a senior corgi. He was 15 years old in this picture, actually 15 and a half. And he did not live a lot longer than this. So every year, all of his life, I had given Comet a big birthday party. I invited the dogs in the neighborhood because I lived in a close community where there were dogs in every house around me, and it was very easy to have a spontaneous dog birthday party for Comet. And then when Tristan came along, when Comet was in his early teens, we added Tristan's puppiness to the parties. So when Comet was getting really elderly, he was 15 and a half plus, he was really only a few months short of 16, he had a terrible disease, which we'll talk about in great detail at some point, called DM, which is degenerative myelopathy, which is common in corgis, boxers, German shepherds, and sadly many other breeds. And it is Lou Gehrig's disease for dogs, or ALS, where they develop a paralysis starting in their hind end and in their organs and works its way from the back legs up to the front legs. I've had 2 dogs with this, and it is painful and horrible to watch your corgi, who is fun and full of life, start to diminish in his abilities as he gets the disease and it progresses. Now, I've had the good fortune of doing alternative medicine myself and working with my sister, really, who has been on the cutting edge of using electroacupuncture and cold laser to combat Lou Gehrig's disease /ALS/DM in dogs. So Comet had, as my first dog Winston, exceptional care. And I encourage anyone who has a corgi to consider getting the test when your dog is younger. And if your dog tests positive, to really take their exercise regimen and their acupuncture and healthcare regimen seriously, because I really feel that my dogs lived much longer because of the care they had. So Comet was getting very decrepit and old, and we had gone through many issues with his health as the DM progressed. He was laying on his pillow all day, and he refused to ever walk in a cart. Corgis are very stubborn dogs, people say, but I feel like he as much as signed a do not resuscitate order. He didn't want a fuss made. He didn't want to keep taking his vitamins. Initially, I put him on a whole series of vitamins developed by one of the great vets that was in New York State at the time, and it's still on the website. So I had Comet taking all those vitamins with no problem. I just threw them in his dinner and he ate them. But one day, a few vitamins were left, and then another few, and then another few. And then we had the whole fight of trying to get him to swallow them, and he pretty much refused to eat if I was going to make him take these pills. And that was when he was about 13. So we stopped doing that. And at that point, I realized that he was really taking control of his own health care. So near the end of his life, and he wouldn't use the cart, I had to carry him around a lot. We had the great happiness of going to the beach a few extra times, lounging in the yard in the sunshine, and it was getting to be October, early October, and his 16th birthday was coming up in December, and he had started to lose the use of his front legs, and it was a very, very difficult time for me. He was very time-consuming to care for, and when you're so involved in the care of a dog like this, where you are daily having to express his urine and sometimes his poo and clean up after him and position him, it's a lot of time-consuming work, but it also brings you so close to that dog, and you just love them so much. You've had them 15 years or something. And Comet started to bark kind of helplessly in the evenings as the sun was setting. And my sister kind of off the cuff said, "Oh, it's like sundowning in humans." And I had called an animal communicator I work with quite a bit, but not a tremendous amount. And she said, "Oh, it's just like a little old lady. He's nervous. He wants the doors locked, the windows shut. He wants to make sure everything's safe for the evening, and he's nervous. So that's why he's barking." And that just didn't really strike a bell with me. Comet had never been that kind of a dog. And I thought about the elderly people I have worked with, and when they have dementia and they sundown, they're usually frantic about something in their real lives, like where is their car? Where is their wife? Did they take their medication? Is it dinner time? Did we have lunch? What day of the week is it? I mean, stuff that is really a concern for someone who's elderly. They don't randomly, in a nursing home, ask if the doors are locked because they know the doors are locked. So I thought about it and called someone else I knew who was an animal communicator, and that is the wonderful Maureen Harmonay, Harmonay. She has a great website, and she's quite backed up right now, about 2 weeks to get in a session with her. But at the time, she had met Comet at several conferences where I had spoken about animals in the afterlife and for alternative health care for pets. And so she knew Comet, and that may have helped. And she said that Comet was lonely. And, you know, of course, Tristan and I went upstairs, up 2 flights of steps to my bedroom every night, and Comet at 35 pounds was too heavy for me to carry. And so I immediately got him a nightlight, left music on for him in the evenings, and got him his little stuffed lammy buddy to keep him company in the evenings. And Tristan and I made a big deal about saying goodnight to him, telling him we'd be back in the morning. And lo and behold, after that conversation with Maureen, Comet slept through the night with no problems. And up until then, I had been trying colostrum and valerian and, every herb and natural thing I could think of, even including acupressure, and nothing could really calm him down. And then he was heard by Maureen, and everything was fine. So the second thing that he told Maureen many things, but one of the things he mentioned was that he would like his birthday party, and he would like it early. And I thought, fine, why not have it now while it's still good weather and his friends can come and we can have a big party. So in fact, I think I spoke with Maureen on a Wednesday or Thursday, and she responds with an email. I actually didn't talk to her live until later. And she said Comet wanted his birthday party. So I rolled the motion of birthday planning, and we had Comet's birthday party on a Sunday afternoon within 3 or 4 days of when he had requested this. I ordered him my favorite almond raspberry buttercream cake, which he enjoyed some of, and I invited some of his dog friends over. Tristan was very well behaved and took a backseat to Comet all day. Comet got to wear our family birthday hat. Oh, where is it? Which Tristan sometimes wears since it's my birthday. He wore it the other day to celebrate my birthday. So Comet got to wear the hat. Tristan does not like it. Sorry, Tris. It does poke you. And we had his cake and his friends over, and I gave him a thing that says birthday boy, a little first place ribbon, which he wore, and he got to visit with his friends. My good friend Jack Horner was there, Comet's dad, and everyone really celebrated Comet. He had a really good time. He was barking, his spirits were bright, he ate a lot of food, which as corgis get older with this disease, their appetite is much less. And we just had a really wonderful time at Comet's birthday party. And his friends came, and it really was a satisfying day for us. That evening, Comet was exhausted. He was sound asleep at like 4 or 5 o'clock. And on Monday, he was still exhausted. He ate a few eggs. And on Tuesday, I had to go to work at my then job as a physical therapist with veterans. And I just was so worried about him. I don't even know how I went to work that day. And every one of my veterans knew him because he had used to work there with me. And they all sent him well wishes. We had many heart hugs throughout the day with me and the fellows to send Comet strength. I got home from work, and Comet was in really bad shape. He was dehydrated, and he didn't want to eat. And I brought him over into the living room with me by the sofa, and he passed away that evening, 2 days after his birthday party. So I have to emphasize to anyone who has a senior dog to consider doing 6-month birthday parties for them, because Comet was so happy that day, and he had said to Maureen he wanted to be the center of attention, and he sure was. He had 3 or 4 people sitting on the floor petting him for 2 or 3 hours and saying what a great dog he was, and really talking about his beauty, his lovely soft coat, and just really complimenting him on his lifetime achievements, which were many. And I felt so relieved that I had had that heads up. If he had passed away and I hadn't been able to have that party, I would have felt awful. So it's really important to have birthday parties for your pets, especially when they're seniors. But I love having birthday parties when they're puppies too, to watch their friends running around in the yard with them, or bring them to a new dog park, or just take them for a new fun walk in the woods. And it's always fun to look up some new recipes and make your dog maybe a pup loaf for his birthday cake, or some other tasty treat, a puppin, which is a muffin like a pup loaf that my sister has recipes for on her website. And I think it's a really wonderful thing to celebrate your dog's birthday. Now, some of us have dogs that we got from shelters, or we don't know their birthdays. And what many of my friends do is now a gotcha day. And some people who do know their dog's birthday still do a gotcha day anyway. And a gotcha day is the day that you brought the dog home to share your life with you. And in fact, our friend Dory in New Jersey, our black and white corgi friend that Tristan loves, I don't know, he and she have a bit of a snarly relationship, but when he was afraid, Dory became his best friend. So, and they're similar size, and Dory is so cute. Her gotcha day turns out to be the same day as my birthday. So I thought that was pretty cool. So what people do with a gotcha day is really just as you would on your dog's birthday, spend extra time with them, celebrate, invite their friends over, think about what your life was like before you had this wonderful dog and what your life would be like without him, and really appreciate your dog. It's a great time to spend a few quiet moments and do some tea touches with your dog. Maybe take a spiritual dog walk with your dog, or even a fun dog walk where your dog is choosing the path where he wants to go. And sometimes I do things like a sniff walk where I let the dog, Tristan, sniff whatever he wants for as long as he wants, wherever he goes, and let him just have a fun sniff walk. So think about some things like that you can do with your dog to celebrate his birthday or her gotcha day. And consider having some parties for your dog throughout the year. They do so much for us, and someone might say that in fact having a party for your dog is having a party for yourself. But look at Tristan smiling here in his scarf. He knows that this is a special party day because of his clothes, and when the people start arriving later, he will know that we're celebrating. He might not know if it's his birthday or my birthday, but I think he knows. When people come for his parties, he gets lots of new toys, and his dachshund friends come, and there's a lot of barking and running around, and it's a very different kind of party. And Tristan has the good luck of sharing his birthday with Jack, my friend, who is Tristan's dad, in quotations, and they both were born on November 2nd, which is one of the reasons I said Tristan must be my spirit dog in some way, because of this amazing coincidence. And Tristan's gotcha day happens to be Christmas Eve. So there's always a lot to celebrate in the fall with Tristan in my life, between his birthday and Jack's birthday being the same day and Christmas Eve being his gotcha day. So I encourage you, wherever you are and however long you've had your dog, and if you can't even remember when you got him, you might remember what time of year it was, and just make up a day and make that be your dog's birthday or his gotcha day, and really enjoy and celebrate the experience of your dog in your life on that day, because we are so lucky that they want to spend time with us. And I know for some of us it's very painful that the time is so short. But there are many dogs in the world that need homes, and many dogs that have a lot of love to give us. And it's so important that we open our hearts and our lives to them in whatever way we can. Even if you end up just working at a shelter sometimes because you live in a place where you can't have a dog, or even just celebrating the dogs you meet in the streets if you don't have a dog in your place, you live in a big city. I feel fortunate to have shared my life for more than 30 years now with Corgis. I really love them, and I love that they are fairy steeds and get to play with fairies. Oh, Tristan says, "That's my fairy, Mom. She's just your size." And she almost fits through the fairy door. So I also invite you, if you do not want to go to the website and buy a little fairy door, to make a fairy door yourself and put it in your house, especially if you have children. But if you have Corgis, a fairy door might be a fun place to leave treats for your Corgis and little fairies and glitter, so that your dogs can celebrate the relationship they've had with fairies for over 1,000 years. So whatever your dog is, enjoy your dog today. It's sunshiny and bright, even though it's another cold day, and we will be celebrating at our party this afternoon. Thank you, everyone. This is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner, and Tristan, who is a Corgi, for Conversations with a Corgi. Also, please note that these are all posted on YouTube, so if you aren't on Facebook or your friends are not on Facebook and would like to see these videos, you can find them on YouTube as well. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow morning at 9:25.